The Dreamer's Loom, a bedtime story of manifestation. In the bustling city of Luminera, where the skyscrapers seemed to touch the stars and the streets buzzed with the energy of a million dreams, there lived a woman named Aria. She was neither extraordinary in appearance nor remarkable in achievement, but within her burned a flame of hope that refused to be extinguished. Aria worked as a junior copywriter at a small advertising agency, spending her days crafting slogans for products she could barely afford. Each night, she would return to her tiny studio apartment, its walls adorned with vision boards filled with images of the life she yearned for. A successful career, a loving relationship, a home filled with warmth and laughter. As she lay in bed one night, her eyes heavy with exhaustion but her mind racing with unfulfilled wishes, a soft voice whispered in the darkness, "Have you ever wished you could manifest your dreams effortlessly?" Startled, Aria sat up, her heart pounding. The room was empty, save for the silver moonlight streaming through her window. She shook her head, convinced she had imagined the voice. But as she settled back onto her pillow, the voice spoke again, this time accompanied by a shimmering figure materializing at the foot of her bed. Who are you?" Aria stammered, clutching her blanket tightly. The figure smiled, its form shifting like stardust in a gentle breeze. "I am Loom, the guardian of dreams. I have watched you, Aria, and I see the fire of desire that burns within you. You are ready to learn the secrets of the universe, the law of attraction." Aria's eyes widened. She had heard of the law of attraction before, whispers of its power to shape reality, but she had always dismissed it as New Age nonsense. Yet here she was, face to face with a being that seemed to have stepped out of her wildest fantasies. "The law of attraction?" she repeated, her voice barely above a whisper. Loom nodded, its form solidifying into that of a wise, elderly person with eyes that sparkled like distant galaxies. "Yes, my dear. The law of attraction is the force that governs the very fabric of our reality. It is the power that turns thoughts into things, dreams into destiny. And you, Aria, are about to embark on a journey to master this cosmic force." As Loom spoke, the walls of Aria's small apartment seemed to melt away, replaced by a vast, star-studded expanse. Aria found herself floating in this cosmic void, Loom by her side. "But how?" Aria asked, her voice echoing in the infinite space around them. "I've tried vision boards, affirmations, even meditation. Nothing seems to work. My life remains unchanged, my dreams out of reach." Loom's laughter rang out like tinkling bells. "Ah, but that's where so many stumble, dear one. The law of attraction is not a magic spell to be cast, nor a genie to grant wishes. It is a fundamental principle of the universe, as real and immutable as gravity. But like any force, it must be understood and applied correctly to harness its true power." With a wave of Loom's hand, images began to form in the space around them. Scenes from Aria's life, moments of joy and disappointment, hope and despair. You see, Aria, many people misunderstand the nature of manifestation. They believe it's about forcing the universe to bend to their will, to give them what they want through sheer mental effort. But that's not how it works at all. Aria watched as the images swirled, showing her countless individuals staring intently at vision boards, chanting affirmations with furrowed brows, their faces etched with frustration and doubt. "These people," Loom continued, "are pushing against the current of the universe. They're trying to control outcomes, to dictate to reality what it should be. But the law of attraction isn't about control, it's about alignment. The scenes shifted, now showing people engaged in joyful activities, their faces alight with genuine happiness and contentment. True manifestation comes from aligning your energy with the frequency of your desires. It's about becoming the person who already has what you want, feeling the emotions of your dreams fulfilled, and trusting in the perfect unfolding of the universe. Aria frowned, trying to grasp the concept. But how do I do that? How do I align myself with something I don't have yet? Loom smiled warmly. That, my dear, is where the real work begins. And it starts with understanding the key principles of the law of attraction. Are you ready to learn? Aria nodded eagerly, her earlier skepticism melting away in the face of this cosmic wisdom. Very well, Loom said, waving a hand. The starry expanse around them transformed into a lush garden, filled with vibrant flowers and crystal-clear streams. Let us begin with the first principle, visualization. As they walked through the garden, Loom explained, visualization is more than just picturing what you want. It's about engaging all your senses, immersing yourself fully in the experience of your desire fulfilled. They stopped before a magnificent tree, its branches heavy with ripe, golden fruit. Close your eyes, Aria, Loom instructed. Imagine yourself reaching for one of these fruits. Feel the texture of its skin beneath your fingers. Smell its sweet aroma. Now take a bite. Taste its juicy flesh. Feel it nourishing your body. Aria did as she was told, and to her amazement, she could almost feel the weight of the fruit in her hand, taste its sweetness on her tongue. That's it, Loom exclaimed. You're not just seeing the fruit, you're experiencing it with every fiber of your being. This is how you must visualize your dreams. Make them so real in your mind that your subconscious can't tell the difference between imagination and reality. They continued their walk, the scenery shifting to a tranquil meadow dotted with wildflowers. The second principle, Loom said, is gratitude. It is the key that unlocks the abundance of the universe. Aria looked puzzled. But how can I be grateful for things I don't have yet? Loom chuckled. Gratitude isn't just about being thankful for what you have. It's about cultivating a state of appreciation for all that is, all that has been, and all that will be. When you approach life with gratitude, you open yourself to receive more of what you appreciate. As they walked, Loom encouraged Aria to notice the beauty around her. The delicate petals of the flowers, the warmth of the sun on her skin, the gentle caress of the breeze. With each observation, Aria felt a growing sense of wonder and thankfulness. Do you feel it? Loom asked. That warmth in your heart, that lightness in your spirit? That's the power of gratitude. It raises your vibration, aligning you more closely with the frequency of abundance and joy. Aria nodded, marveling at how something as simple as appreciating her surroundings could make her feel so uplifted. The meadow gave way to a winding path that led them to the base of a towering mountain. And now, Loom said, gesturing to the peak shrouded in mist, we come to the third and perhaps most crucial principle, belief. Aria looked at the mountain with trepidation. It looks impossible to climb, she murmured. Exactly, Loom replied with a knowing smile. And that's where many people falter in their manifestation journey. They see their dreams as that distant peak, desirable but unreachable. But belief is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. With another wave of Loom's hand, a golden bridge materialized, spanning the chasm between them and the mountain's summit. Belief is not just positive thinking, Loom explained as they began to cross the bridge. It's an unshakable knowing, a certainty in your core that what you desire is not only possible but inevitable. As they walked, Aria noticed that with each step, the bridge behind them disappeared. There was no going back, only forward. "This is how belief works," Loom said, sensing Aria's realization. "When you truly believe in your dreams, you burn the bridges to doubt and fear. You commit fully to your vision, leaving no room for hesitation or retreat." When they reached the other side, Aria turned to look back. The chasm that had seemed so vast now appeared insignificant from their new vantage point. "You see," Loom said softly, "the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, but it's belief that carries you through to the end." As they stood atop the mountain, overlooking a vast, shimmering landscape, Loom turned to Aria with a serious expression. "Now, my dear, comes the most challenging part of your journey. For knowing the principles is one thing. Applying them in the face of life's obstacles is quite another." The scenery around them shifted once more, and Aria found herself back in her small apartment. But something was different. The air felt charged with possibility, and her vision board seemed to glow with an inner light. "Your real test begins now," Loom said, its form beginning to fade. "Remember what you've learned. Visualize with all your senses. Practice gratitude in every moment. And above all, believe in the magic of your dreams." As Loom disappeared entirely, Aria heard its final words echo in her mind. "The universe is waiting to dance with you, Aria. All you have to do is take the lead." With those words, Aria awoke, unsure if what she had experienced was a dream or something more. But deep within her, a spark had been ignited, a spark of hope, of possibility, of belief. In the days that followed, Aria began to apply what she had learned. Each morning, she spent time visualizing her ideal life in vivid detail. She imagined the feeling of satisfaction as she presented her ideas in a boardroom, the joy of coming home to a beautiful house filled with love, the exhilaration of traveling to exotic locations. She engaged all her senses, making these visions as real as possible in her mind. Throughout her day, she practiced gratitude. She found herself appreciating the smallest things, the warmth of her morning coffee, the smile of a stranger on the subway, the way the sunlight danced on the leaves of the potted plant on her desk. With each moment of appreciation, she felt a subtle shift in her energy, a lightness in her step. But it was belief that proved to be the most challenging aspect. Old doubts and fears would creep in, whispering that she was fooling herself, that nothing would ever change. In these moments, Aria would close her eyes and remember the golden bridge, the certainty she had felt as she crossed it in her dream. She began to cultivate that same unwavering faith in her waking life. Weeks passed, and while Aria's external circumstances hadn't changed dramatically, she noticed subtle shifts. Her colleagues seemed to pay more attention to her ideas. She found herself striking up conversations with interesting strangers. Small opportunities began to present themselves, a chance to work on a high-profile project, an invitation to a networking event she would have normally been too intimidated to attend. One evening, as Aria sat at her desk, putting the finishing touches on a presentation, her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Hi Aria, this is Marcus from Stellar Creatives. We met at the networking event last week. I was impressed by your ideas and was wondering if you'd be interested in interviewing for a senior copywriter position we have opening up. Let me know if you'd like to discuss further." Aria's heart raced as she read the message. Stellar Creatives was one of the top advertising agencies in the city, a place she had only dreamed of working. For a moment, doubt crept in. Was she really qualified? Could she handle such a big step up? But then she remembered Loom's words. When you truly believe in your dreams, you burn the bridges to doubt and fear. Taking a deep breath, Aria typed her reply. Hello, Marcus. Thank you for reaching out. I would absolutely love to discuss this opportunity further. When would be a good time to meet? As she hit send, Aria felt a surge of excitement and nervousness. She was taking a leap, stepping into the unknown. But for the first time in her life, she felt ready. Ready to embrace the possibilities, ready to dance with the universe. The interview process was intense. Aria spent hours preparing, rehearsing answers to potential questions, and refining her portfolio. But more than that, she spent time visualizing success. She imagined herself walking confidently into the Stellar Creative's office, engaging in stimulating conversation with the interviewers, and leaving with a sense of accomplishment. On the day of the interview, as Aria stood before the imposing glass building that housed Stellar Creatives, she felt a moment of panic. The old Aria would have been overwhelmed, maybe even considered turning back. But this new Aria, the one who had walked with Loom through cosmic gardens and over golden bridges, took a deep breath and centered herself. I am grateful for this opportunity, she whispered to herself. I believe in my abilities. I am aligned with my dreams. With those words, she stepped through the doors and into her future. The interview went better than Aria could have imagined. She found herself speaking with passion and confidence about her ideas and experiences. The interviewers seemed genuinely engaged, asking thoughtful questions and nodding approvingly at her responses. As she left the building, regardless of the outcome, Aria felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. She had shown up as her best self, and that alone was a victory. Days passed, and Aria continued her practice of visualization, gratitude, and belief. She refused to anxiously check her phone or email every 5 minutes, trusting in the unfolding of the universe's plan. It was on a sunny Friday afternoon, as Aria was watering her now thriving potted plant, that her phone rang. It was Marcus from Stellar Creatives. Aria, he said, his voice warm. I'm thrilled to offer you the position of senior copywriter at Stellar Creatives. Your creativity, passion, and fresh perspective are exactly what we're looking for. Welcome to the team. As the words sank in, Aria felt a wave of emotion wash over her. Joy, gratitude, and a deep sense of alignment. This wasn't just a new job. It was the first tangible manifestation of the dreams she had been nurturing. In the months that followed, Aria's life transformed in ways she had only dared to imagine. Her work at Stellar Creatives was challenging and rewarding to grow both professionally and personally. She found herself surrounded by creative, like-minded individuals who inspired her to reach new heights. With her increased salary, Aria was able to move out of her tiny studio into a beautiful apartment with a view of the city skyline. She filled it with plants, artwork, and books, creating a space that nourished her soul and inspired her dreams. But perhaps the most significant change was in Aria herself. The confidence she had gained through her journey of manifestation spilled over into all aspects of her life. She started taking dance classes, something she had always wanted to do but had been too self-conscious to try. She volunteered at a local community center, sharing her writing skills with underprivileged youth. She even started a blog about her experiences with the law of attraction, hoping to inspire others on their own journeys. It was on a crisp autumn evening, as Aria sat on her balcony watching the sunset paint the sky in brilliant hues of orange and pink, that she heard a familiar voice. "Well done, my dear. You've learned to dance with the universe." Turning, she saw Loom, shimmering in the fading light, a proud smile on its face. "Loom!" Aria exclaimed, her heart filled with joy and gratitude. "I can't thank you enough for what you've taught me. My life has changed in ways I never thought possible." Loom's eyes twinkled with cosmic wisdom. "You did this, Aria. I merely showed you the door, you chose to walk through it. You embraced the principles of the law of attraction and made them your own." Aria nodded, understanding the truth of Loom's words. "But there's still so much I want to achieve, so many dreams I have yet to manifest." Loom chuckled softly. "And that, my dear, is the beauty of it all. The journey of manifestation never ends. As you grow and evolve, so too will your dreams. The key is to enjoy the dance, to find joy in the journey itself." Aria smiled, realizing the profound truth in Loom's words. She had been so focused on reaching her goals that she had almost forgotten to appreciate the incredible journey she was on. "You're right," she said softly. "I've been so caught up in manifesting my desires that I haven't taken enough time to simply be grateful for where I am right now." Loom nodded approvingly. "That's a common pitfall, my dear. Remember, the law of attraction isn't just about getting what you want. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of the universe. And sometimes, that flow takes you to places you never even knew you wanted to go." As if on cue, a gentle breeze swept across the balcony, carrying with it the scent of possibility. Aria closed her eyes, breathing it in deeply. "Now," Loom continued, its form shimmering in the twilight, "let me share with you some stories of others who have harnessed the power of the law of attraction. Their journeys may inspire you as you continue on your own path." With a wave of Loom's hand, the balcony seemed to expand, transforming into a cozy living room with plush armchairs. Aria found herself seated comfortably, a warm cup of tea materializing in her hands. First, Loom began, settling into the chair opposite Aria. "Let me tell you about Maya, a struggling artist from a small town in the Midwest." As Loom spoke, images began to form in the air between them, like a movie playing on an invisible screen. Maya had always dreamed of seeing her artwork hanging in galleries in New York City. But for years, she struggled to make ends meet, working a series of part-time jobs while painting in her tiny apartment at night. She had almost given up on her dream when she stumbled upon the concept of the law of attraction. Intrigued, Maya began to apply the principles she learned. Every night before bed, she would visualize herself standing in a bustling gallery, surrounded by her paintings and admirers. She felt the excitement, the pride, the sense of accomplishment as if it were already happening. During the day, Maya practiced gratitude, appreciating the smallest details of her life, the vibrant colors of her paints, the texture of her canvas, the way the light fell across her easel. She began to see beauty everywhere, which in turn inspired her art. Most importantly, Maya cultivated an unshakable belief in herself and her talent. Even when faced with rejection letters from galleries or criticism from well-meaning friends and family, she held firm to her vision. Months passed, and while Maya's external circumstances hadn't changed dramatically, her art had. There was a new depth to her paintings, a raw emotion that seemed to leap off the canvas. It was as if, by aligning herself with the universe, she had tapped into a wellspring of creativity she never knew she possessed. Then, one day, as Maya was setting up her easel in a local park, something she had started doing to challenge herself and connect with her community, a woman stopped to admire her work. "This is extraordinary," the woman said, studying Maya's half-finished painting. "I've never seen anything quite like it." Maya thanked her, and they struck up a conversation. It turned out the woman, Elena, owned a small but well-respected gallery in New York. She was in town visiting family and had decided to take a walk in the park on a whim. "I'd love to feature your work in my gallery," Elena said, handing Maya her card. "Can you send me a portfolio of your pieces?" Maya could hardly believe it. This was the opportunity she had been visualizing for so long. But instead of doubt or anxiety, she felt a deep sense of calm. Somehow, she had known this moment would come. Within months, Maya was standing in Elena's gallery in New York, surrounded by her paintings, just as she had imagined countless times before. But the reality was even better than her visualizations. The energy in the room, the genuine appreciation for her art, the sense of having found her place in the world. As the image of Maya's success faded, Aria found herself wiping away a tear. "That's beautiful," she said. "But surely it can't always be that easy?" Loom smiled knowingly. "You're right, my dear. The path of manifestation is not always smooth. Let me tell you about Carlos, a man who faced numerous obstacles on his journey. Once again, images began to form in the air. Carlos had always dreamed of running his own successful business, but life seemed to throw one challenge after another in his path. He grew up in a low-income neighborhood, struggled in school due to undiagnosed dyslexia, and found himself a single father at a young age. When Carlos first learned about the law of attraction, he was skeptical. How could mere thoughts change the harsh realities of his life? But desperate for a change, he decided to give it a try. He began by visualizing his ideal life, running a thriving business that helped his community, providing a stable and happy life for his daughter. At first, it felt like a futile exercise in fantasy. But as he continued, day after day, he began to feel a shift in his energy. Carlos practiced gratitude religiously, finding things to appreciate even in his most difficult moments. He was grateful for his daughter's laughter, for the community center that provided after-school care, for the small triumphs in his daily life. Belief was the hardest part for Carlos. Years of setbacks had left him with deep-seated doubts about his abilities and worth. But he worked on it tirelessly, using affirmations, surrounding himself with positive influences, and celebrating every small victory. Slowly, things began to change. Carlos's positive attitude caught the attention of his boss at the warehouse where he worked, leading to a promotion. With the extra income, he was able to enroll in night classes at the local community college. But the real turning point came when Carlos's car broke down. Unable to afford repairs, he started taking the bus to work and school. On one of these bus rides, he overheard two elderly women discussing how difficult it was for them to get to their medical appointments. In that moment, something clicked for Carlos. He realized there was a need in his community for affordable, reliable transportation for seniors and disabled individuals. This could be the business he had been visualizing all along. With renewed energy, Carlos threw himself into researching and planning. He used the skills he was learning in his business classes to create a solid business plan. He networked tirelessly, sharing his vision with anyone who would listen. It wasn't easy. There were setbacks, moments of doubt, times when giving up seemed like the only option. But Carlos held firm to his vision, his gratitude, and his belief. 2 years later, Carlos stood before a small fleet of vehicles, the logo of Community Wheels proudly displayed on their sides. His business was small but growing, providing much-needed services to his community and employment opportunities for his neighbors. As he watched his daughter cut the ribbon at the official launch ceremony, Carlos felt a profound sense of alignment. This was more than just a business success. It was the fulfillment of a deeper purpose he hadn't even known he had when he first started his journey of manifestation. As the image faded, Aria sat in thoughtful silence. "These stories are incredible," she finally said, "but they also seem so big. What about the everyday manifestations? The small miracles?" Loom's eyes twinkled. "Ah, but those are often the most powerful of all. For it's in the small, daily manifestations that we build our faith in the universe's abundance. Let me show you one more story, the story of Sarah." Once more, images began to form. Sarah was a high school English teacher, content with her life but feeling a persistent sense that something was missing. She had heard about the law of attraction but was unsure how it could apply to her ordinary life. Nevertheless, Sarah decided to give it a try. She began small, visualizing simple pleasures, finding the perfect parking spot, receiving an unexpected compliment, discovering a book that would change her perspective. To her amazement, these small manifestations began to occur with increasing frequency. She would arrive at the crowded school parking lot to find a spot opening up right in front. A student would thank her for a lesson that had particularly resonated with them. She would stumble upon a book in the library that seemed to speak directly to her current life situation. Encouraged, Sarah expanded her practice. She visualized more meaningful connections with her students, breakthroughs in her teaching methods, a sense of purpose and fulfillment in her work. As she aligned herself more and more with these desires, Sarah found her entire approach to teaching transforming. She began to see each student as a unique individual with untapped potential. She experimented with new, creative teaching methods that engaged even the most reluctant learners. The changes in her classroom were subtle but profound. Students who had been struggling began to show improvement. Discussions became more lively and insightful. There was a new energy, a sense of possibility that hadn't been there before. One day, as Sarah was grading papers, she came across an essay that brought tears to her eyes. It was from a student who had been on the verge of dropping out. The student wrote about how Sarah's class had rekindled their love of learning, how they now saw a future for themselves they hadn't thought possible. In that moment, Sarah realized that while she hadn't manifested some grand, external change in her life, she had manifested something far more valuable: a deeper sense of purpose, a profound impact on the lives of her students, a renewed passion for her chosen path. As the image faded, Aria found herself deeply moved. "I see now," she said softly. "It's not just about manifesting things or achievements. It's about aligning with our true selves, with our highest purpose." Loom nodded, a proud smile on its face. "You've understood the deepest truth of the law of attraction, Aria. It's not a tool for accumulating possessions or accolades. It's a way of aligning ourselves with the infinite potential of the universe, of becoming co-creators of our reality." As the first stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, Loom's form started to fade. "Remember, Aria, the stories I've shared with you tonight are just a few among countless others. Every person who embraces the law of attraction writes their own unique story of transformation and growth." Aria felt a surge of excitement and possibility. "What's next for me, Loom? What should I manifest now?" Loom's laugh echoed like distant wind chimes. "That, my dear, is for you to discover. The universe is infinite, and so are your possibilities. Keep visualizing, stay grateful, believe in yourself and the benevolence of the universe." But most importantly, enjoy the journey. For in the end, the journey is the destination. With those words, Loom disappeared, leaving Aria alone on her balcony. But she didn't feel alone. She felt connected to her dreams, to the universe, to the infinite potential within her. As she gazed out at the city lights twinkling like earthbound stars, Aria felt a deep sense of peace and excitement. Her journey with the law of attraction was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead her next. She took a deep breath, savoring the cool night air, and whispered to the universe, "I'm ready. Let's dance." And with that, Aria turned and walked back into her apartment, ready to dream new dreams and manifest new realities. For she knew now that the only limits that existed were the ones in her mind, and she had the power to transcend those limits. One thought, one moment of gratitude, one unwavering belief at a time. As she drifted off to sleep that night, Aria's dreams were filled with infinite possibilities, each one a potential reality waiting to be manifested. And in the fabric of the universe, unseen but ever present, the threads of her desires began to weave themselves into the tapestry of her future, guided by the cosmic law of attraction. The end, or perhaps just the beginning,